Here I come. Hi, and welcome back to another video of the games that I have been playing. Now, I haven't seen sort of the last one, so I don't know if this one was on the video. I think not. I think the last video I made with the games that I was playing, that was with Tales of Symphonia. So that's quite a while back, to be honest. I have been playing a lot of different games. I have beaten a few games, even games that I have already played when I was younger. And that was the first one is Devil May Cry 3, a fantastic game. And it definitely holds up. It is still as fun and good as it was when I was a kid playing a game for the first time. I finally played Metal Gear Solid 3 and I beaten the game in 2 days. Well, technically 3 days, but I could have beaten it in 2 days. I just wanted to wait a little bit longer. This is perhaps one of the best games I have played. It's probably going to be in my top 10 best video games of all time. I did play, of course, the HD version on PS3, but I wanted to show the original PS3 version. I have also played Wild Arms 3. I basically played Devil May Cry 3, Metal Gear Solid 3, and then I started Wild Arms 3, and I loved this game. I don't know why the review scores were basically saying that this game is like mediocre, it's not as good. This is actually one of the best RPGs I have played on the PS2. Now, I do have to mention, I haven't played that many RPGs on the PS2, but I absolutely loved Wild Arms 3, and I have beaten it last week. And after that, I started playing Eternal Ring, and I'm probably like an hour or two into the game, and it plays very much like Kingsfield. And Kingsfield is basically the little baby, the little kid of Dark Souls, of the Soul genre. Kingsfield is basically a Soul genre, but just first-person view. If you play Kingsfield, you're like, hey, it really plays and really has this atmosphere and this feeling of a Soul-like game, just very old. So I was liking the game. However, I have to admit, the game is more about the rings, of magical rings, using magical spells, and actually building magical rings and, with the gems and see what you can get. I don't know. After a few hours, I got a little bit bored because I'm way more into, shields, weapons, shields, swords, axes, armors, instead of a magical ring. I do know there is also a From Software game that plays exactly like Kingsfield and Eternal Ring. It's a Japanese-only game, and then you have also like weapons like machine guns and bullets and normal pistols. So maybe one day I'll import that game. But yeah, it's not a bad game. This was also a PS2 launch game, but just after a few hours, I was kind of like, well, I wished I could equip more armor and stuff. The game I've played after that, and it's basically on a Sunday evening, is Black, because I've been seeing this game pop up in a lot of underrated gems, best shooters on the sixth generation of consoles, and I just wanted to try it out. I wanted to wait for the Xbox version, but then I'm like, well, let's just try it out, because they do say even on PS2 it runs very well, and the game is great. It is really cool. I was playing it on my launch PS3, and I was having a really good time. I'm thinking like level 4 and 5, and somehow it's because of the PS3, not because of the game. The game just seems to glitch out to a point where you only see like green squares, and it's really weird, and you can't do anything else. But the enemies still are shooting at you, and you can still shoot. And I'm like, okay, I'll just restart the mission, whatever. And it just happened over and over again because the PS3 launch model is backwards compatible with PS2 games. However, not 100%. Kind of like the PS5, even though they probably have updated a huge amount of PS4 games to be able to work on the 5. But on the PS3 launch, There were a lot of games that work perfectly fine and looks perfectly fine, but there were also a lot of games that didn't really work well or didn't even work at all. For example, Tekken Tech Tournament, uh, Tekken Tech Tournament on the PS3. It does play, but the frame rate is so bad, so bad. And there are a few games that just doesn't work on the PS3 launch model. So I think this is one of those games that it kind of works, but it does glitch out at a certain point. And I like the game. However, there is one little fault. The enemies are such bullet sponges. The game actually is very short. You can, if you just have normal sort of playthrough where a few bullets an enemy is getting killed, you can probably beat the game in like an hour. It just takes so long to actually kill one freaking enemy. That was the only part I'm like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I like that, but everything else, the explosions, the graphics, it looked amazing for the PS2, just like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Devil May Cry 3. After that, I was kind of sort of wandering around, playing all kinds of different stuff, like a minute there and a minute this. And then I started playing, I actually forgot it, holy shit. Violent Assault, I think. It's a beat 'em up. It's a beat 'em up, an arcade beat 'em up, and I really liked it. It wasn't the top of the. It wasn't Streets of Rage 2, but I did like it. I beat it yesterday, and then I was scrolling around my Super Nintendo Mini, and I found, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to play Tales of Fantasia on the Super Nintendo. I think that's the first Tales of game ever, and I started playing it. I'm really liking it. It is really retro. It's really old school compared to sort of the even Tales of games it has been sort of 2D for a very long time. It plays like clunky, very slow, but I have to admit it is still a lot of fun. The music is incredible, and the graphics are like, wow. Is this Super Nintendo? Like, poof! The graphics are amazing. If someone would say, well, Claude, originally this was a PlayStation 1 game, but it's been ported to the Super Nintendo, I would have believed it. It looks great, and I'm having a blast playing through it. I started the game yesterday. I'm about an hour into the game. It is very grindy, though. Every few seconds, every few steps, you'll get into a fight. And I'll have to say, that's probably going to destroy, eventually destroy my excitement to keep on playing. I will try, of course, to play as much as possible to try and, if I still like the game, I'll keep playing. But I have just a nudge that if that keeps going, literally every few seconds, like an encounter, it's really, really annoying at the start of the game, so let alone 30 or 40 hours later. But again, it's not sort of downsizing my enjoyment, at least not at the moment. So those are the games that I have been playing these few weeks. Leave it in the comments below. Have you played any of these games? Have you played Tales of Fantasia? What did you think about the random encounters? And what games are you playing? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And like always, you're gonna see me next time.